Welcome to Traffic Jam. My name is Leroy, and I'm gonna get right to it. Man, ICP, which is the Inkling Clown Posse with Fallon J and Shaggy 2 Dope. I'm just gonna talk about JCW is the best wrestling show. Everybody knows Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and tell you why that is the best wrestling show right now, currently. Now, if everybody knows JCW Lunacy, started in 1999. Well, it didn't start in 1990. Well, JCW started in 99, uh, before the millennial started. And it had been going on for close to 30 years, man. Because first it was backyard wrestling, and then it became wrestling at some point because they used to do shows like every month. And like you get the idea, man. They still run that show to this day, man. But JCW Lunacy came out 2 years ago, which was around summer of believe 2024, and it's still going on and still running the best wrestling show right now today. And I'm gonna tell you why. If you like the Attitude Era, and everybody knows the Attitude Era with WWE at that time, if you're a fan of that and you like to be part of it and understanding characters, unpredictability, creative, raw storylines, and I wouldn't say independent, but JCW is independent. If you like those type of vibe, you should go watch this show because it has everything that you want, which is the characters. Which I'll give you an example. The outbreak with the zombies with Barnabas, and also Chopper City with the tag team, and what else? Danny Moe, the women's division, J Rod and Big Al, and then Ho Kane. That's one of my favorite female characters. And then I'll go back to the men's. Cocaine, spelled Cokane, not the other one. Stephen Flo as the like Seattle, Nirvana vibe. Um, with the Ring Rack as his manager, as well as that, and Violent J, that the owner, which he's the owner of JCW, and then Vince Russo as the investor, uh, that which is the entertaining side of things. I can go on and on with the characters, but I will do a characters in a few moments. This show is probably the best show right now as we speak, and it's sad that WWE, and I will put WWE and AEW, cannot get their act together, man. And one thing they have that most companies, and I'm talking about those two companies, is they got the money. That is it. And all that money they got, they don't have those resources. And all the resources they have, they still couldn't put a damn show together to get everybody to come back, man. And it's hard to watch that show, man. And I am like to the point where those both shows that I'm talking about has a might not renew my card next year, man, if they go down this route, man, because I am losing faith in those two companies right now. But back to JCW, man. JCW, and I watched this since last year of in the fall. When I heard that Vince Russo was part of it. Now, I'll talk about Vince Russo right now. Um, and get an idea who he is. Now, the man is fully responsible for the Attitude Variety, the Attitude Era, and with Air Ferrari. And then no, it wasn't Vince. Now, Vince McMahon had the last say as the final draft of what goes on this show, because they took a lot of risk in this show. Because if everybody remembered that WWE was, as the WWF was on life support as it is, man, and they were competing with I keep saying WCW World Championship Wrestling at that time, which the NWO, which I could talk about the other JWO in a few moments. With NWO was the problem with Scott Hall, God rest his soul, Kevin Nash, and then Hulk Hogan, God rest his soul as well, man. And they went to the company that used to work with WWF at that time, and they were a huge big deal back in the day because they were grabbing viewership every week. And everybody knows 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff, his podcast, they were beating WWF 83 weeks in a row. If you don't believe, go watch the stats, man, back in the day. And Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, Jim Cornette. You could put Michael Hayes in the situation, and his henchman, which is Vince McMahon's henchman. As you know, Vince McMahon done a lot of good and done a lot of bad, but this was a lot of good back in the day, man. And they had to take risks, man. They had to do Jerry Springer, you know what, TV program on their show, man. And it brought Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, DX, Bret Hart at that time, which he was having sour grapes with them, The Undertaker, Mankind, Kane, and it like a bunch of parties involved in that, and the Nation of Domination. If everybody knows that, to get where they at today, man. Because if it weren't for the Attitude Era, um, and all that's going on, wrestling WWF would be out of business. It would be WCW would be the prominent TV show right now. And the reason why WCW failed is because the networks didn't want it. If you don't believe, go watch the Vince McMahon and docuseries in the Dark Side Ring of the demise of WCW. Because everybody blames one person, like Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff, for the reasons that WCW went down. You know what? But the networks, that's where the suits did not want their wrestling on their program. Did not want it. But they only had one person that told them, hey, we're putting this on show, was Ted Turner, God rest his soul, to put on the show that, hey, we're putting this on the show, and it would be the best thing ever had, which it was. And you get the idea. You just got to watch that, man. Back to JCW, man. JCW is the best show right now. I can't understand. I can't explain this. Now, if you're afraid of clowns, man, and all that, hey, don't watch it. But if you're if you like the unpredictability, the characters, the authentic, the raw, the creative, the independent, the storylines, this is the best show, man. They have everything that you want with the Attitude Era, and they don't insult your talents by degree, because they go basic one-on-one. Who's a heel, who's a baby face on the show. That they're creating so much depth into this show, man, because it's a really good show that people would to watch, man. But I will put it in the description and where you can find that show. After this, once I'm done with this live stream, is you need to check out, because they come on every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Actually, it's 7 p.m. Eastern time and 6 p.m. Central time. And, you know, the rest, if it's 2 hours back for Pacific or Mountain time, 1 hour back, man. And it's a good show to watch, man. And it's crazy that I watched this show 3 times. Every episode, I watch it 3 times a week, man. Then I do with WWE and AEW right now. And that tells you everything you need to know. And what this show is, and I could do a little dive on it, that you have, and this is just the storyline with these. You got Vince Russo as the investor, and then that's the entertainment side of things, and you have Violent J, which is the wrestling side of things. And they're trying to work together as, okay, how we're going to bring this show to what it is like currently right now. And it's a lot of characters on this show, man, that you can follow, man. Now, if you like the funny stuff and just stuff, go watch the Green Lantern, the Pink Lantern. I mean, that's a character, man. If you like just like still a little chaos, but just a little authentic, you can go watch the Outbreak, because they're great at what they do. It's just good, man. And if you like just the normal wrestling and all that with the women's, and I do believe the women's division on that show is probably like 50 times better than the current women they have on the other show right now, which is WWE and AEW right now, because it just feels like AEW is making it into something that is not, and then WWE is turning to something that they can't even control, man. And they're allowed to beat themselves on that show, man. And I could talk about J-Rod, the Ultimate Athlete. I mean, she's a freaking beast, and like, her character is off the charts. I think she could kick my ass. Like, really, like, she could really kick my ass. And then, you know, Big Al, as you know, Aleister Crowley, can really kick my ass, man. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. That character, the believability, that gimmick, man, in real life, you want somebody that knows, like, okay, this person can kick my ass, man. Could really beat me down in a hallway, man. And that's what they need with these characters in real life, man. But it's just in like these other shows Now I will put NWA. They are on the rise right now. I am gonna do a video about that later on in the future. That they're trying to get their act together. But this is all about JCW, man. This show has everything you want, man. And I'm really glad that Vince Russo, if everybody knows the controversial man. Now I understand this man um done some things that most people are not proud of, but I give Vince Russo the benefit of the doubt because his hand was tying his back with these companies, man, that they didn't want wrestling in their program. He tried everything trying to save the WCW and TNA, and everybody knows, and I know everybody say that TNA was a Vince Russo, like this is his fault, but no. And I will put this: Dixie Carter did not know what was going on. She didn't know wrestling, man. And if you don't have wrestling minds in the room and be able to get from point to point B and not understanding the business, you're gonna have issues moving forward, man. And I like Vince Russo, man. I believe this man is a man of faith. He is. I like what he does because I do subscribe to him. I understand that. I'm gonna put my wrestling card in it. I like Jim Cornette. I like all these guys. Eric Bischoff. I mean, I just wish these guys can put their differences aside. But this is all about JCW. This show has everything you want, man. And it's crazy that these people these days will as like shit on this product because it's the Insane Clown Posse, man. I get it. But it is a cult following, man. And I do believe they like the days of them doing what they did when they first started until like the late mid 2000s. They don't do that no more, man. And I will give you a backstory. I'll put my brother over if he's watching right now. My brother was heavily in the ICP era, like in the 2000s at that time. He was listening heavily because I didn't know who they were back in the day. Now, I used to own the Backyard Wrestling of when ICP was on the cover, man. And it was a fun game, man. And I used to have fun playing it, man. That's how I knew who ICP was. I knew their music a little bit. I didn't get into their music because I felt like it may not be my cup of tea. But go around and it comes around like watching this show, and I'm like, oh, I remember this team, this crew. I remember the ICP. They're the people. They were musicians, and they really are great people. Personally, I believe they have a huge heart in what they do, man. And maybe they not. And I'm talking about like did the wickedness back in the day, but I think I believe they clean it up, man. They're not like they were anymore. They had a change of views of things. But I just feel like JCW right now is the best wrestling show. I just understand people may not be a fan of what they do, but you just got to watch the show. Now, I will say this. They did have that incident where a man was caught on fire and got through a burning table and tried to put the fire out, and nobody couldn't do anything. Now, they did acknowledge that they will never do that type of shenanigan ever again. And that's what it says, accountability. And that's what's missing with these wrestling shows these days, that there's no accountability in what they do, man. If they know they made a mistake, man, that's the way of life. If you know you messed up, hey, I messed up. I make sure this doesn't happen again. And that's what's missing in these wrestling shows these days, like WWE and AEW. They just don't acknowledge their mistakes. It's just they keep doing these same things that they did before, man. And JCW is the best wrestling show right now. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, they caught a tear in my eye when I watched this show, man, because it feels like it's like the Attitude Era / Ruthless Aggression era that I'm living in right now. It's a good show, man. It really is. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. I could do a long video about this. It's just that I could have put this out in the future. I just feel like JCW is the last real wrestling show right now because I gave up on AEW. What they did with Kenny Omega kicking out with a low blow, and I'm talking about MJF versus Kenny Omega with that AEW World Championship on free TV, and MJF gave him that low blow and hitting the belt, and then all of a sudden Kenny Omega get a freaking 1 count kick out on a 1 count with that shenanigan stuff, man. And I lost faith after that, and then WWE do these clownish behaviors, and I'm not. No pun intended to JCW, but they did these clownish behaviors on that show. From if everybody knows, on Raw and Netflix last couple of days that I ran about what they did and tell you why that The Go Home Show was the worst. You should watch that. But JCW is the best wrestling show. Like I said, I'll put in the description where you can find it. It comes on every Thursday. If you live in Eastern Time at 7 o'clock, Central Time, 6 o'clock, Mountain Time, 5 o'clock, and Pacific Time, 4 o'clock p.m., man. Yeah, man. I don't know what to say about this. JCW is the best wrestling show, man. If you like unpredictability, characters, authentic, raw, independent storylines, that's your show, man. Now, if you're afraid of clowns, man, I get it. I understand it, but you get the idea, man. This show is the best show, man. Um, I'm gonna end this right now. I wish I could do something long about this, but thank y'all for tuning in. You have a good day, and I'll see y'all soon.